What's up, Drop Pod listeners? As always, you can listen to the Drop Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Pods. We're now on Amazon Music, Audible, and Pandora as well. New episodes drop every Wednesday. You can also find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by the Law Office of Mallon and Tranger. Tom Mallon and Randy Tranger are board-certified trial attorneys who share more than 40 years of legal experience. They specialize in personal injury matters, workers' compensation cases, and criminal and municipal defense. As certified trial attorneys, they've recovered millions of dollars on behalf of people injured in accidents and employees injured at work. They have offices conveniently located in Freehold and Point Pleasant. For skilled and personalized legal representation, call Mallon and Tranger at 732-780-0230 or check out their website at tmallonlaw.com. Not only are they good people, they're good golfers too. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What is up, everyone? Hope another great week was had for you. Mike and I we got an interesting episode for you. We got an opportunity to go up and play Rock Spring. So we're going to talk about that, give you our course rating and all that kind of stuff. And then on the back end, we have Melan Dhaubhadel as our interview for this week. Milan's an absolute stud. He just won recently, within the last few weeks, the Ike tournament. So we got an interesting interview with him coming up as well. But before we get to all that, want to just remind everybody to head over to flukeapparelco.com. Check out our polos. They're really doing well, Mike. I mean, we got on the Corn Ferry Tour out in Illinois. We had ours on when we went up to Crystal Springs. They look great. They feel great. We've talked about it already. They're a little tight, a little snug if you're someone of my size. You want to go size up. You know, they're just that form-fitting, kind of clingy material. It's great material. It looks good. It feels good. But if you're someone who has some body imperfections, we'll call it, you want to you're gonna want to size up there. So again, flukeapparelco.com. Make sure you go check them out and enjoy a wonderful polo.
Yeah, big time shout out to Chris Swartz. Chris caddies on the Corn Ferry Tour. Caddies for Chad Tootin. Now, Chad is a stud out there, and Chris has been on his bag all year. And you know, Chris has been following, listening along, and loves what we do. He purchased a polo, and you know, him and I were DMing yesterday, and obviously this is coming out Wednesday, so you know today's Sunday for us. But you know, he wore it out there, and it was always cool to see that going on and to see other people outside, you know, the Garden State wearing it, promoting it, speaking so highly of it. I think again just kind of justifies things that you and I have been saying from the very beginning with the polo. So go check those out. It's must have. It's great material, and I promise you will not be disappointed. So, Ryan, before we get into a little recap of the State Open, I do want to toss this out there. I know I made a little video on Instagram, and I put this out over the weekend. But I do want to say thank you to everybody that has followed, that's listened, that has subscribed, because we officially reached the 105. We have exactly 100 5.0 ratings on Spotify. So for everybody that's listened, that's followed, like again, we can't thank you guys enough. But if you haven't, and you can, we'd love for you guys to click that follow button on Spotify. Toss us a 5.0 rating. You know, those little things for us helps us tremendously. So again, go over to Spotify, click that follow button, toss us a 5.0 rating, and again, helps us, you know, continue to get the good word out there about golfing here in the Garden State. Now let's get into the State Open recap, because I think, you know, we had a lot of dudes on that leaderboard, and I think when you and I looked at that leaderboard and we saw our boy Nick Bova, you know, leading, and then tied with one hole to go, I thought we actually, you know, caught lightning in a bottle a little bit with that pick. We both kind of came out of nowhere with it. No real reasoning. But credit.
Other than he's our guy.
Yeah, no doubt. But you got to give credit to Brent Palladino. I mean, coming out there in that final round, firing 65 is tough to beat. And it's not even like Nick played poorly in that last round. He shot 69. I just had a little blunder there on 18 that kind of cost him. But Jack Simon had a huge bounce back week after what happened at the State Am, finishing tied for third. Our boy Troy Vanucci was right there, tied for third, had a big time chance. And probably the hometown hero of this one, Thomas O'Neill, Hackensack Golf Club, right where the tournament was held at, club champion there, made a good run as well. So again, that leaderboard from top to bottom was loaded. We're going to do everything we can to get Brent on the show to talk about his victory, and even reach out to Nick to see if we can get him on to talk about, his experience. And I know that it may be a little tougher for Nick to talk about it, but I think that'd be a cool perspective to hear, what he thought coming down the stretch, and ultimately like the nerves that we talk about a lot. He sits right there in that boat as well. So. Again, a lot of the guys that I talked to spoke so highly of Hackensack Golf Club. The course was in great shape. Those were some low numbers if you saw all the red that was being produced that week.
It really was. And I want to go back to what you said about Nick. Like, just because Nick's a pro playing in a tournament that's open to amateurs, an open tournament, he's still human as well. He's still going to have nerves. He's still going to be... he's still leading the tournament and has to go to sleep on a lead. He was leading going into the final round, correct? So he's got to go to bed with a lead. So he's got to think about that. That's not just amateur person problems, or that's not just PGA professional problems. That's, he's human. Those are going to be human things that are gonna happen. He's going to get nervous and going to get tighter, going to have to deal with all of those things that we all know that come with that. So that would be, again, hopefully he does want to come on and at least share a little bit of it. It's tough. Neither of us want to tear off Band-Aids or rip off scars that are happening, but that would be great. And like you said, congratulations to Brent on 65 in a final round. Again, on the flip side, talking about those nerves, those, the feeling that you get to be able to get that done. 65 is incredible. I mean, there's a huge difference between 65, playing with your friends, having some cocktails, maybe even wearing sandals, and just like going out there having fun with the fellas, to firing it in the final round of the State Open those are two vastly different rounds. So good for him. Congratulations to you
dude,
guys.
He shot a 65 with 8 birdies. That's legit golfing nonetheless in the final round, with that pressure on, you're that far back, you got to, make magic happen more or less. And, due to some scheduling issues with us and Brent, we weren't able to get him on, but, he will, and he's mentioned to me multiple times, he's more than happy to come on the show, talk about the win, talk about the tournament. So, we'll get Brent on in the near future as well.
For sure.
All County Exteriors is a third-generation premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs.
All right, Mike. Let's get into something else here. We got our round. We got a round at Rock Spring. We went up there. It's one of the courses we've said we've wanted to go to. An early Seth Raynor course that became public in West Orange, and not a private spot. It's one of the spots we've talked about. It was in our 21 counties. It was in our March Madness. So we took the trip up, got on, played the course, had a nice little swing, nice little day. Let's talk about it here. It's a really beautiful spot. You don't get a whole lot of like city type courses, and West Orange is, big area. Mike, what'd you think of the course? Let's talk about it here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, you and I have said this way back in gosh, maybe like December-ish, when this is a spot that's high on our list to get to. And like we've been saying, like we're going to try our best to get out and travel as much as we can, see as many of these golf courses. And this being one of the 2 public golf courses designed by Seth Raynor, and it's thankfully right here in New Jersey, was like a no-brainer. It was just a matter of time before you and I were able to coordinate a schedule to get up there and play. And listen, I was blown away with how nice of a public golf course this was. Now, it was on the rather expensive side, so if people are looking at numbers, it was like $115 or so, $120 now. Again, some people may say that's a little high, but I feel like nowadays golf is always $100. Like that's the number, and if you get it for less, you got a good deal, and if you got it for more, it better be worth it. So to me, like the ability to go up there to play at Seth Raynor, I mean, no offense, Rock Spring has hosted 4 New Jersey State Opens. So it's not like this is just some run-of-the-mill public golf course. Like this place was really, really nice. And the fact that we got to go and experience it. Listen, shout out to Ted. He was the guy that we played with from the area. Every time we stepped on a tee, we'd ask him, like, what about this hole? What about that? And Ted was so kind in helping us navigate that golf course if we had any sort of questions. But I thought it was a really nice golf course. I don't know particularly. I had many bad things to say about it. I could see like at one point, it had some old features to it, which was really cool. It had some newer features that I thought were like definitely somewhat interesting. But it was just an all in all like a top level public golf course. I don't know if I could really say many other things, but like it's another one of those spots that like the views of some of the holes were just like unreal. I know it's like just outside the city in terms of like where it is. I know that it was private that turned public back in 2019. And I can see why so many people in that area flock to that golf course.
For sure.
I truly can.
Yeah, it was really good. I before we kind of get into the course, I did my course rating for it. How would you compare it to Hominy Hill?
I think it was nicer than Hominy Hill.
By a lot or by a little?
By a little.
Okay. Which is exactly what I have.
Yeah, to me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind Hominy. I don't. I've only played it. I mean, you and I played it that one time, and we played the back 9 twice. And I think I saw the front 9 way back when I was in high school. But like, I just thought the features of Rock Spring were just really cool. Like some deep bunkers, the wispy grass on some of the holes, the undulation, the greens. I just thought it had more character to it, maybe than Hominy.
Yeah, the bunkers were enormous. Like I mentioned a whole bunch of times, they were really really big, really deep. I thought it was pretty close. If I finished that thought to Hominy, I thought it was. I gave it an 86. Not having any practice facilities. I mean, it had a small putting green, but there wasn't a driving range. I thought, other than that, really that was the biggest thing for me. That there wasn't any kind of facility. But it's an old school facility You could definitely tell it's like early turn of the century, early 1900s clubhouse. It's got that old feel to it. It's, like a single floor building. That's, kind of no frills. The locker room is old with the exposed beams, and just like old lockers, like lockers. It was definitely a throwback. But the course was really good. No, not terribly long, but a bit of target golf for lack of a better term. You don't need to hit driver off the tee a whole bunch, which I think for when it was built it would have been long. But now with the technology and things, it was, it's not terribly long, but it is really good. The first hole, kind of that blind tee shot going down the hill over the water there. 2 coming back, and those are kind of tucked in. 3 over the ravine was really nice. And then I feel like you're kind of off there, like without a driving range, you kind of hit, you kind of get through those 2 holes, maybe 3, and then you kind of cross the road to 4 and 5 and come back. It was really, really good. And the character for me kind of came after, really once you got to 6, I guess. That par 3 was really good. The bunkers were, it was surrounded by bunkers, basically an island green. Bunkers in the front, bunkers in the back, bunkers on the side. 6, 7 was good. 8, 9 are really good holes. Yeah, it was really, really nice. Really well kept. Again, for a public course, you compare it to some of the other courses that we've played, and I think it's really, really difficult for a public course to be on the same plane as a private course. It just doesn't have the money or the ability to keep up as far as maintenance goes. And I thought this one was in great shape, and in comparison with a private course, it was in that good a shape.
There was a couple things that really stood out to me that I thought were like really cool, maybe a little on the older side of things. Is one, I loved the tee markers. Those RS tee markers I thought were so cool looking. I think they have like a little history behind them. It's not the generic, just straight up color. It was those 2 letters to me I thought were like really, really cool, that stood out.
Yeah.
Big time. And then I thought like the design on the flags. Again, I know it's just something simple and dumb, and it's a lot of things that we take for granted because sometimes it's just like the red, the blue, the white based upon like where the flag is located. But like that little logo inside the flag, I thought was like 2 small things that people don't really care much about, but for whatever reason to me kind of stood out.
No, I think those are good, because when you look at something like that and those are small, and like if they're bad, you don't really notice them, but when they're good, they do pop. Like it's not something that anybody noted, and I think that shows that like they definitely popped, because those tee markers were really cool. Like to have that RS, like you get some that are just like you go someplace that it's just like a golf ball, or it's it's an anchor,
it's a piece of
or
wood.
It's a piece of wood, or it's and it's like, but I thought it was like an iconic look for it to say like RS, like to own their name. I thought was really cool.
And I think that's kind of a cool thing, because most public golf courses aren't doing nice, cool little things like that. Right. They're not. They're just finding those little like just stakes, throwing them in the ground, the piece of wood. And I think that's a small little thing that a public golf course, especially one that's really nice like this, kind of does to separate itself.
Yep.
I think obviously the golf course kind of speaks for itself in terms of the condition that it was in, the playability. Again, like you said, it's not the overly long, but the greens are kind of tricky.
Yep.
And the bunkers are super deep.
Yep.
Yeah, like you needed to hit good golf shots going into the greens. And I thought, when I thought about the golf course itself, like that third hole, and again, I feel like I'm on like this tangent of like holes that stick out are always par threes. But again, this par three, it was really, really cool the way it was set up. I felt like the green sloped really hard from right to left, and then from, from back to, or from front to back, just like kind of just had that long little slopey tier that like you don't see that from the tee box.
Yeah.
And it demanded a very good shot going in. It was kind of like a 205 up a hill.
Yeah, up a hill. It played longer than it was. And then the danger of, like, you had the green going from front right to back left, like a skinny green going away from you. So you kind of had to hit a draw into it. But then you have a long bunker that goes along the side of it facing you. So you got to, not only do you have to hit a draw, but you have to hit it over a bunker with a draw. And then if you don't hit it in the bunker, you're in this ravine that's like something out of that, like the train crashes into in Back to the Future. Like that's like a deep ravine that looks like a rock quarry or something. Like you're not going down there to get a ball because it's gone. So it was a really good hole, really pretty picturesque hole there, that par three for sure.
Yeah, and I thought those like kind of three things for me when I thought about the golf course and leaving, like was really cool. It really was, and it's another one of those spots that I think that you hear why a lot of people in that West Orange area play that often. It's a great golf course, and listen, maybe the price may be a little on the high side for you or others. But again, I think when you're checking off boxes about availability, accessibility, like how can you say no to a spot like that? Because again, I think it's a must for all public golfers to go experience something like that with the history, with the Seth Raynor, with all those things that go into that. At least go play it one time.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to. And as far as like the price goes, like you and I, we took a cart. So, it's going to be more expensive when it's going to be, when you're taking a cart. It's certainly walkable. You could,
no doubt.
You could certainly walk the course and have, like, Ted walked. He carried his bag. You could do a push cart and you're saving money there. So I don't know what it would be without a cart. I know for us it was like, what was it, $115 or something like that. It was over $100 with the cart, and as I said, I think that's what you're going to pay when you're playing golf. I just don't, if you're taking a cart, that's what golf is. It's $100 with a cart. That's what it's going to be. I don't know what it costs without, but again, like you could save money there, and it's certainly a walkable course. It's not like there was a ton of mountains or like you're not walking up. There's certainly hills there. It's not flat. It's not a beach course, right? It's not a course, from down the shore, but it was not, for being an area that's up in the elevation. You're not walking over a ton of mountains. I thought it would be walkable for sure. Was the third hole your favorite hole? What was your signature hole?
Yeah, I would say number 3. I don't know why, but I think when I thought back about the golf course itself and I thought about all the holes, to me that just seemed to be the coolest one. I think, like you said, that bunker that was in the front was really neat. And it was like, I don't know, I didn't think it had that much slope on the green either from the tee box. And then when you got up there, you're like, wow, this is way more right to left than it looks. And then after I hit my first putt even on that hole, I was like, wow, that's way faster, because now when I look at it from the other side, it's strictly downhill. So to me, like, there was a lot of unknowns about that hole specifically that you don't really see from the tee. And I think that was the first time as well that I saw the flags that made it stand out, that just made that hole, in my mind, stand out more so than some of the others.
Yeah. I mean, they must think it's their signature hole as well, because it's the hole on the front page of their website.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So it goes to show.
Good minds think alike. Hey, they're not. It's just nothing.
I thought Again, kind of like in par threes. I thought the 16th hole was really cool there. I thought something that Seth Raynor does a lot of is the green to tee is not a long walk. He does a really good job of kind of like putting things right next to each other, and while still spacing them out. Like you're like the walk from 11's green to 12's tee box was like 10 feet. The walks from greens to tees are not far, but the course is rather open, I thought, comparatively.
Yeah, no doubt. I loved it. I had a great time, and you can always say that when you play well.
Yeah.
But even when you date back to times that you don't play well, you're still able to sit there and enjoy the golf course for what it is, because there's some days that in a sense you win and you beat the golf course, and then there's other days where the golf course is flexing their muscles laughing at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So again, Rock Springs, a must go see. It was really good. Again, I'd say hour and a half course. If you're in within that, go play it. Really good. 1925 Seth Raynor track, recently public in the last couple years. So
yeah, 2019.
So again, you could tell too. You could tell those things, like the halfway house was like an old throwback country club kind of. Like they could have filmed Caddyshack there, and you wouldn't have known. Like it had that kind of feel to it. So definitely go check it out. That's our recap of Rock Springs.
Matera's Italian Market and Catering Company is located in the heart of Rutherford, New Jersey at 72 Park Avenue, and has everything you need for an authentic Italian table. Recently celebrating its 10-year anniversary, Matera's Italian Market brings all your senses alive as you walk in the door. Imported retail products, cheeses and cold cuts, freshly baked bread, and the creamiest fresh mozzarella. All can be ordered on the Matera's on Park app in Google and Apple stores. Above the market, a private space called The Loft can be reserved for intimate family parties all the way to corporate events. So give them a follow on Instagram at Matera's Italian Market. Stop by and say ciao. Matera's, you'll walk in a stranger, leave as a family.
As I said at the top, we're going to send you to our interview with Melan Dhaubhadel, winner of the 68th Ike Invitational Stroke Play Championship. Melan won in a playoff and is a super interesting guy. He's got a very interesting background into golf, so I think you guys are really going to like this interview. So here it is, Melan Dhaubhadel. Enjoy.
So today's guest, this is one that, I've been dying to get on the show and kind of pick his brain a little bit. This year's 68th running of the Ike MGA Stroke Play Championship. This year's winner, as well as a Division I golfer at the University of Louisiana Monroe, Melan Dhaubhadel. Melan, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being on your guys' podcast.
Yeah, listen, I've been sitting here, and I know Ryan and I have kind of, went back and forth about, how can I get Melan on? And then when you go out and you do what you did at the Ike, obviously that's something I'm going to get into a lot about. But real quick, and that maybe not even real quick, I think the audience would love to hear your backstory about kind of like, obviously they hear the accent if they haven't already, and then ending up in New Jersey to begin, and then ending up down at the University of Louisiana Monroe. Like, why don't you tell your story a little bit here?
Yeah. So I'm from England. I'm from a small town in the UK called Reading. I grew up there. I played at a small golf club called Calcutta Park. And at the end of my junior career, I got recruited by an agency, College Sports America, to come and pursue collegiate golf over here in the States. And I was recruited by Fairleigh Dickinson, by Coach Warren, and I spent my freshman year there played nicely in the fall, and just before COVID hit, I was thinking the weather came and it was pretty cold. I emulated England quite a bit, which is what I was trying to get away from. And it was pretty brutal with the snow and all the indoor practicing and all that. So I realised that being down south and playing golf all year round was critical to to high level development, and being outside on turf all year round is really key. So yeah, as COVID hit, the season obviously got suspended, and during that time I reached out to a lot of schools, and Louisiana Monroe, I had a friend there and he was able to get me a full ride. So I hopped in the portal and, headed on down. And I've just been playing golf there. Just finished up my junior year, and during the summers I haven't really been going home just because of the expensive flights and COVID, and the opportunity for me to pursue caddying up here in New Jersey. I had a few friends that caddy at Alpine, who also went to Fairleigh Dickinson, and as my major is kinesiology, focusing in sports management, I was able to do an internship at Alpine for caddying to, count towards hours in my major. So they go hand in hand, and I've been coming up and doing that for the last 3 years, which has been great. I've met a lot of great people, and playing these MGA tournaments, playing the NGA, SGA stuff has been great. And I recall playing the similar circuit last year. I played the Ike and the State Open and the State Amateur last year, and the year before that, the State Open and all that, great stuff. To come away with a win at the Ike this year was pretty special, and I've still got a busy schedule coming up for the end of the summer, going into a full year of collegiate golf coming up. Yeah,
that's it's crazy that when you think about kind of where you were to then come to New Jersey, which, like you just mentioned, the winter can be brutal. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah.
But then to still come back here and caddy and intern and still play, I think that I do think that comes full circle to kind of highlight the amount of good golf and opportunity that there still is here in this state.
Yeah, I think, New Jersey's, the Northeast is definitely a great area to come up to in the summertime. All the great players come up here because the courses are they're immaculate, and it's a great opportunity to hone your game in the summer months.
How does kinesiology and caddying get tied together?
So I'm in a internship class which runs from when I started my major. I've been able to do hours towards that. So at Alpine, I run my internship under the caddy master, and I'm able to do caddying to count towards some of my hours that then go towards my major in that class, which is a 6-credit class that I'll graduate with in the spring of 2024.
Love that. I love that.
I can't imagine anything better than hey, if you're working and doing classes, what's better than that?
Yeah, so I'm actually ticking off that class at the same time as meeting great people and being at
getting
Alpine.
good exercise.
And this year they just granted me the access to practice there and play there in the off hours. So I'm very grateful to be teaming up with members and some of my buddies at the club. Yeah, it's really, really, really enjoyable this summer.
Damn, that sounds like a home run.
And you're meeting us, so let's not say they're all great people, but
he's not teeing it up with us, so that's a plus for him.
Not yet.
Not yet is right. Melan, I was going to ask you you mentioned your upcoming schedule and how you've been busy since the Ike. What is that? What's your off season like, other than the caddying? You're playing off season, because I'd imagine school went to sometime in May. I would imagine your season ended.
Cool. Yeah. So we finished our college year up at Annandale Golf Club in Mississippi for our conference championship, and then I headed up here and I played the Ike. I played the USAM qualifier at Horworth. Unfortunately, missed by one, but onwards and upwards. I then just qualified for the Monroe Invitational up in Pittsford, New York. the Met Amateur next week, followed by the North Atlantic Amateur in West Jersey, and then the final event is the Met Open at Arcola. So a busy summer, and then to head back down and play. I think as soon as I get back down to school, we're going to be on the road to Missouri. So it's a really tight schedule. Yeah. And driving back down to school as well, if I may add that. I drove from Louisiana here with one of my teammates, and unfortunately he can't join me back here, but I'm going to be driving the car back down, which is a very, very long drive.
Yeah, that's definitely a long drive. Maybe a stop in Nashville. Are you even 21 yet?
Yeah, Tennessee. We stopped in Tennessee on the way up, and I'll probably sleep in the car on the way down. Yeah.
I mean,
that's wild because you hear like the Corn Ferry people that are like, oh, they're going from tournament to tournament. They're sleeping in their car. You talk about like how many people run out of funds that are trying to become professional.
Sure.
It's got to be even harder as a college kid that's not making any money whatsoever.
I don't have the privilege of coming from a lot of money. I was raised in a pretty adverse, economic background. So being very frugal and conservative with money is definitely something that I've learned to do very well. And sleeping in the car is kind of like the what it takes attitude, and I live for that. So
yeah, I mean, listen,
you got a Venmo? Let's see if anyone can Venmo you some money for a hotel room.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I will say this, that schedule, and it's so funny because we just had Jack Wall on again last week, and I don't know if you're familiar with Jack. He plays at Texas Tech. He just won the New Jersey State Amateur this past, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. But he was telling us how he just got back from the Southern Am, and then he played the New Jersey Amateur. Then he was going out to the Western Am, and he had a lot of things before he headed back down to Texas Tech for the season to start. But it kind of sounds similar to what you got going on, where it's like right now, come August 1st, it's like go, go, go. Like you got this tournament, you got that tournament, and I know you just got back from playing the Rochester, so that's another big time event. But and then you got all the Met stuff that's still that's looming in the background with the Met Amateur right around the corner. So again, big time names there as well. But if we get into your Ike victory, as an outsider, you see some of these names that you beat. I don't know, let's start at the very beginning before you even, won the whole damn thing. But, you see the names that are in there, like Pat Wilson, you got Brad Tilley, who's an absolute stud. You got Shane Bacon that's in there. And then you got a lot of college kids like yourself. You got Colin Summers, you got Cole Eckert. So you got a lot of guys in there that can really golf their golf balls, I like to say a lot. Like going into the tournament, what was your thought process?
Well, it's funny. I'm not very familiar with many of those names.
That's a plus then. That could be a plus.
I mean, I kind of just showed up, and to me, it wasn't a great field. Like it wasn't a field where, I was blown away by the players and, in the field. And, I already had built a process to win, way, way long before the tournament started, way back when I created all of, when I've been working on my mental game and all of that stuff. And, I honestly I mapped it on Google Earth. I used Decade to get all the tee shots for the practice round. I just, got comfortable with the green speed, looked at adjacent hazards around the green, gave them values, which is, if you're familiar with Decade, you'll know what I'm talking about. But, strategy was key, which I got down pretty good on in the practice round. And then come game time, it was just about how well I executed and getting good breaks, which fortunately I got that week. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I am familiar with Decade. I probably not to the level that you are and not to the level that other players that we've had on have talked about it. But I am a big numbers analytics guy. Like I love playing the percentages in terms of that. Now, granted, for me, it's when me and Ryan are out there just smacking it around, things like that. So I'm not doing what you're doing. But just knowing the numbers means something. Why don't you dive into that side of your game, like Decade golf, how you incorporate that?
Yeah, so I've done I've used Decade for a number of years now. I've read Every Shot Counts by Mark Brody, and I've looked at a lot of Lou Stagner's stuff. And they're all the numbers guys. You know, they all do.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, they do all the data and the percentages and all that stuff, and I just read it and absorb it. But yeah, Scott's done a phenomenal job with the game, bringing to light this new kind of foundation of picking a target, the importance of a pre-shot routine, block practice versus random practice. Google mapping the tee shots. When's the right time to hit driver? When is it okay to drop back to 3-wood? The whole stuff with the putting distribution. Leaving more putts short to make the hole bigger. That kind of thing. Not going at flags. Unless it's within the baseline number. That kind of thing. All of that is great. And when it comes to a tournament, it's just down to variance and luck and patience and just sticking it out and trusting that. Trusting your dispersion, trusting your shot shape. Not trying to force birdies, not trying to force anything to happen. Just you're letting it take care of itself. And I just did a great job of trusting that week.
So that's hilarious because the Korn Ferry Tour was just in Chicago, and we had a guy, Ryan McCormick, on the show, and he was interviewed about how he prepares for the tournaments, and he's playing video games. So he pulls the games up. He talked about how he uses Google Maps as well, but he'll pull out PGA 2K and he's playing the course and taking notes by playing the video game, which is wild because like I think like you could use Google Maps and like that's all well and good and you can click around on some stuff, but like it makes it a little more interactive, especially when like when you're playing a course that's on there. For sure, that's an interesting way to do it. Have you done anything like that as well, or is that something
I'm
that's
I'm not really a console person. I'm more of a bookworm. I like to read books and study and all that great stuff. But yeah, I mean that's the first time I've heard of someone. It probably works for him. I mean, he's on the Korn Ferry Tour, so it's probably. And I think he just had a good week this week. So congratulations to him.
He did. So that was just super interesting to me. I never would have thought to use video games as like a way to prepare for the course. Of course, I've played Augusta numerous times on that, so I am prepared for it when I do get to play it. But until then, it's just going to be a pipe dream. But that was really interesting to me, and what you said just kind of resonated. Although I think your answer is the most British answer we could have gotten. That you're more of a bookworm and less of a console.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So let's I mean, I do right to echo your point. Like the idea that, and I don't want to say Melan's like a kid, but like the younger version, the younger athlete, the college kid is using so many diverse ways of preparing themselves. Like you think about like Melan, I'm 39. Ryan, I don't know if he wants to disclose his age, but I'm
37.
Yeah, Ryan's 37. So but we're obviously older, but we played collegiate sports and preparing wasn't that way. It was like you either went out and, for us, it was either play basketball, you played golf and just hit a few shots and that was it. Sure. But the way you guys are preparing nowadays is it's so cool really to think about.
So, when you can, now that you can look at a course from an overview perspective, you can kind of, look at where like your average tee shot's going to land, how far it's going to leave you to a front pin, to a back pin. You can gauge sort of how many wedges you're going to have, how many scoring clubs you're going to have, how many long irons you're going to have, how long are the par threes, and you can kind of start to emulate that kind of stuff in preparation. Is it going to be a windy golf course? Do I need to work on trajectory control? Are the green complexes large or are they small? Have I got to work on speed control more than holing out? When you can kind of like, simplify it to those kind of things, then, your performance practice protocol is like, suited to that course instead of sort of a generic improvement on performance, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, I think it's really cool. I truly do. I think some part of me is like jealous because when I was a kid, it was like we're just playing video games to play video games, and I will say this, like I know a lot of
Mario
people,
Kart didn't have anything to do with what else we play in sports.
No, but I think that kind of echoes the point too. Like I know a lot of people harp on social media being such a negative thing and the internet being like the worst thing ever, but when used properly, the resources that we have at our fingertips are just truly remarkable and can be used in so many different facets, and this just being another one. And the idea that I'm looking up Google Maps and looking at golf courses, to me that's just like so benign. But you guys doing it and using it to make yourselves even more successful is ludicrous and crazy, but I fucking love it. I do.
Yeah,
I do.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So, all right, let's get into the tournament, because this is like, you know, I'm probably more of like the golf tournament nerd between Ryan and I.
It's true.
I am like all in, and I, the running joke on the podcast here is like, when I have you guys on, like I look at you guys like, dude, these guys are like big time. Like I envy you guys. I wish I could hit the golf ball like you guys, even though I can bunt it around a little bit. But obviously I see your name and I see you guys, you playing well, and I'm like, man, you know, Melan's got a connection to New Jersey. This is like a perfect tie, and let's try to get him on. And obviously my goal is working behind the scenes to get you guys on. But let's talk about the Ike, because I know it was only the second time that you ever played the tournament. And I know last year was the first time. You finished top 10. To then come back this year, to beat Christian in a playoff, like you played solid golf, but I obviously, being the nerd I am, I read a lot of the quotes that you had put out there on different platforms, and it didn't sound like you had your best stuff all week, but you still found a way to get it done. Talk a little bit about the tournament itself and how you felt like you were playing and how things were going.
Yeah, so obviously, as I mentioned, in the interview, I didn't have my best stuff off the tee. I'm kind of going through a phase right now of trying to add speed. I've been doing a lot of stuff in the gym, getting stronger, improving baselines, doing a lot of speed training. I'm trying to translate that to driver and moving it left to right with my new swing coach, Cameron McCormick. Which we've done a lot of great stuff this spring, and very grateful for him, guiding me. He's a great coach, and to anyone out there, I recommend him. He's really phenomenal. But that week the ball wasn't starting where I wanted it. It was curving quite a lot, and by the end, my body was a little fatigued, and it was shaping more than I would have liked it. That being said, I did have my best stuff into the greens. If I take a look at my strokes gained, I gained 12 and a half strokes for 3 rounds into the greens, which is
That's huge.
Big time.
Yeah, that's quite remarkable. So I was really proud of that. And yeah, with putter, I didn't putt amazing. I just tried to avoid 3-putting as much as I could, and read them as best I can, and focus on speed. That's they're very important, and the rest is down to whether it finds the hole or not. And for that week, some of my longer putts fell in. I took care of the shorter ones and just trusted the process of my pre-shot routine, post-shot routine, breathing, meditation, and all the mental training that I've done with Dr. Nick Molinaro as well. We've done a lot of work over the last couple of years, and it's been really phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you opened up with 4 under 66, and I know it's a par 70 for the audience that don't know where you played, but to also throw that out there, I mean, you played a golf course that is beyond exceptional with it, playing it at Brooklawn, another AW Tillinghast design, so it's another great track, and all the MJ events that they have are at unreal golf courses. But like even after day one, Colin goes out there and he shoots 65. So, you're right there in the thick of it. And then knowing that Tuesdays is 36 holes, like kind of like what was your thought process going into that last day? Because, I know that 36 holes for anybody, even someone of your caliber, can be it can be a grinding day. What was the thought going into that final day?
It's funny. I actually didn't check the leaderboard. Upon leaving the course, I just
wow.
I think I got Chipotle because I've got Chipotle in Monroe, and I love Chipotle. So I've had about 20 Chipotles this summer. So I'm becoming a very familiar face in Chipotle, and
that's incredible.
I did some recovery stuff. I did some recovery stretching, and I started to watch Seabiscuit. Someone recommended that film to me, a member at the golf club.
It's a good movie.
That. And yeah, just to sort of take my mind off of golf, as a switch off. You can become awfully consumed with scores and stuff that's already happened in the day. Reflecting on what could have been better. You could have shot lower, this, that, and the other. Which you can't control at the end of you're just trying to get a good night's rest, and you're trying to mentally prepare for the next day. And my I had no idea that I was even I played nicely, and my goal was to do the same kind of thing tomorrow. It was just about trusting the process, picking the same targets, going through the same routine, and just showing up and executing. So
I can't believe you didn't check the leaderboard and know where. So now let's fast. So you go through Monday, you shoot 66. Mm-hmm. You don't get off the tee exceptionally well, but now you're going to play 36 holes the next day, right? Yeah. And you know that this is gonna make or break the championship. Like, do I get to etch my name into this thing or not? So, like, before you tee off on Tuesday, do you know that Colin's up by 1? Or no, you still don't have a clue?
No, I stretched, I meditated, I got to the course, I did my normal warm-up, and
you don't know the leaderboard?
No. Nope. I don't have the mental capacity for that.
knowing or checking the scores or the leaderboard doesn't change anything for me. It doesn't do me any favors. It doesn't, it's only going to increase anxiety. It's only going to, stress me out.
Dude, that is, I give you so much credit because that's such a mature approach. I'm 39 with 2 kids and married. Like, there is no way that I am that mature to not look at the leaderboard.
Because all of the stuff, the lines that I've chosen off the tee have been chosen to optimize scoring, and by me knowing that I'm a couple back or 3 ahead, if I was hitting 3-wood on one hole to optimize how I play the hole, and then I pull driver, that's it's not gonna guarantee I make birdie. It might increase the chance I make bogey. Just if you could force a birdie, if you could pick a club or a different strategy to make birdie, then you would do that all the time. So once you've already optimized it through the practice round and through decade, it's just down to just trusting and executing. Yes, sir.
Wow,
that's a level of trust that I don't know. I don't know if I have that level of trust in me at all.
No, I know I don't, but I love hearing it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I do too, because that's amazing to hear.
I trust Melan now to come hit my golf shot because I don't have to do anything.
That's amazing. That's one of the most incredible things we've ever heard, Mike.
Yeah, dude. I'm blown away by that. I can't get over the fact that you're playing in an MGA major, you're playing in the Ike, you're playing in this, to us, and maybe not to you, that you don't know the relevance of how big of a golf tournament this is with the names that are in there. Like, that probably helps you a lot. But like for someone like me who like always is checking the Golf Genius and refreshing to see what's going on, like I see this, like I'm stressed out for you that you don't know.
At the end of the day, you just can't control what your competitors do. Whether they go on to then change clubs and change strategy because they feel like they can win, or increase their lead or try and close the gap. Whatever they try and do is out of my control. I can only control what I do and make the best decisions that I possibly can throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah, dude, I love that. So
when do you know that? Let me ask you that. When do you know where you are on the leaderboard?
Don't answer that yet. Don't answer it because I want to get to that point. Because I want to get, because I think I got something on your round that I think is going to blow Ryan away that when I say this. But as we get into the second round, again, obviously looking at your scores, I think the double that you made on 8 in the second round probably, was the only hiccup I kind of saw in your whole round, because then you came back and you were 2 under the last 10 holes of the day. So you shoot 69 in the second day, in the second round, and more or less now the leaderboard is loaded. Because you have so many names that are now, again, you have no clue to this because you're not checking, but someone like me who's stalking it knows the ins and outs of the names on the leaderboard at the time. So, like, you're going into this final round, and the whole thing is bunched up. Colin had shot even par 70. You were 1 under, so you guys were tied. You had Christian right there. You had Charlie, and you had Brad Tilley right there in the wings as well. So, like, you got name after name after name. So you're going into this final 18 holes, and again, I'm just going to just throw this out there. You still have no clue where you're at.
I did know. After I came in, I had to find out the tee time and how much of a break I had between 18s. And Chris just said, yeah, there's a load of guys at 5 under. You're going to go out at X time, and you've got Y to eat breakfast, to have a break and have lunch. It wasn't a very long break, bearing that in mind. And I went out and teed up again. I'd say I was 14 holes in to my last round, and I was just spent. I was carrying my own bag. I didn't have a caddy, and it was frightening how tired I was. And there was a guy that stepped forward.
This is my story.
Yeah.
This is where I was going to go. Right. He carries his whole bag the entire time, right? So there's no caddy like everybody else.
And it wasn't the flattest, of course. It's a Tillinghast, and Alpine's a Tillinghast as well. And lugging 2 bags around Alpine, as the caddies know, it's not easy. There's a couple holes out there to definitely get you, and there was definitely some slopey holes at Brooklawn as well. So
yeah, and this is what I was blown away with. So you can retell the story because he carries his bag right the entire time. All right. But
Hold on, can I interrupt? Let me interrupt real quick. Melan, in between the 18s, you said you had a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Was it enough time to go to Chipotle?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Okay, that was the important question I had to ask. I had to know that.
Grab some grilled chicken, a salad, and maybe some pasta, something like that. It was good. It wasn't quite Chipotle.
Quick bite. Okay, so you're carrying your own bag. Gotcha.
Right. Okay. So let me get into this. So he carries his own bag for the majority of the tournament. Okay, but then for the final 5 holes and the 3-hole playoff, he has a caddy on the bag. Now I know that we can be a little superstitious with things, and probably would have said, "There's no way I'm letting somebody else jump on my bag." But now hearing Melan talk about like the process and how he handles
He's not
things,
superstitious. There's not a thing he does that's superstitious.
I feel like there's nothing that bothers him.
Yeah. Like it's funny you say that. I mean, I was carrying my own bag for a reason, and the fact that I didn't take a caddy was down to the fact that I don't need any outside influence. I'm well able of reading the greens. I'm capable of picking a target.
The shots have been pre-made.
Yeah,
predetermined.
It's just down to wherever the ball goes, to be honest. And if the flag or the hole gets in the way, then great. If not, then pick the bag up and move on. But for him to step in and be a bag toter for the last few holes of the tournament and in the playoff was very nice of him. And I'm grateful that he did, because if not, I don't think I'd have made it over the line.
And who is this mystery man? Just like a guy watching.
His name was Tim. I think he was a local caddy at Brooklawn, and he just came up to me and was like, "Hey man, like you look like you're struggling. Do you need a caddy?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to ask you, but if you're going to volunteer, then yeah, sure." As a caddy myself, it was hard for me to ask for a caddy. So yeah.
So he just comes out of the crowd like.
Yeah.
He's just walking the course and goes like, "Hey, you look exhausted."
Yeah, I mean, I'd say going up I don't know what hole, maybe it was 13. I think I was going up the 13th hole. I was a good 20, 25 yards behind my group, and just, I was just
looking like the last rhino in Jumanji, just kind of.
It was a long day. My feet were aching, and my body was just about holding up. I could hit the ball, at full capacity, but then, to have him carry the bag and to walk down the fairway, without anything on my back was a big relief. Yeah.
Wow. And so, I thought that was kind of crazy, right?
Really, I didn't even think, like, if you were to ask me before this story, I wouldn't think that that's legal. That you couldn't get somebody in the middle of a round to help you out. Like,
yeah, I think if they've played, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I think if they've played the golf course earlier in the day, they're not allowed to caddy. That might be an RNA rule, but USGA.
I think you're right. I think you're right with that, Melan.
Yeah.
I do, because I don't think they can have any like pre-course knowledge or have played it ahead of time to then come and assist somebody else. It's like getting outside assistance from things that have seen it ahead of times.
But to exactly to that point, this guy could have walked the course, seen other players do stuff, and then come back to help you out.
Yeah, but as long as he wasn't physically playing.
I guess he wasn't playing. Yeah, okay. But so I guess that's wild. I would have thought I would have thought that is against the rules. But that's amazing that
it's a crazy story.
Like, this guy comes down from the sky to you and helps you win the tournament.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy. And then so obviously,
how many people had caddies out there?
Everyone. Don't lie.
Did everyone except you?
I'd say it was 80% of the field, probably 80-90%.
Okay.
I was one of the only ones that didn't have any support out there or caddy. And not to, it's not woe to me, but I was there without
the underdog.
And
right. Well, you chose not to.
And they didn't know who I was and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no offense. And again, not being from the area and everybody else being from the area, they're gonna get that support. And I think that's what you see at a lot of these events is that not only local kids and college pros like yourself, it's college athletes, I should say, but then like even local pros and named guys, they're going to have a contingency of people out there following them, which to some extent, it probably helps you to where there is no distractions and you're able to just, again, maturely follow your process, hit your golf shot, and continue to move. Where, man, I'm too much of a head case to even think about that.
Yeah. Can I actually come back to that? I got a question on this, like this predetermined, like.
You need to maybe dive into this. Maybe you need to dive into this.
So, for someone like me, I don't know if that would work because I'm on the better half of being a poor golfer. So when I might have a plan for a hole, but when I hit a shot and it goes wayward, I have to readjust my plan. How does that work for you in this? So like you hit.
I understand what you're saying. So like you've got a dispersion. Everyone has. Like,
my dispersion is significantly bigger than yours. Yeah, I got that.
And Tiger Woods' dispersion is significantly tighter than mine, as you could say. But once you pick a mathematically correct target, if you hit 50 shots to a flag, some are going to miss left, some are going to miss right. And if you put the aim line target down in the right place, and then on a certain week, the ones that finish left of the target or the ones that finish right end up whole side, then they're the close birdie looks, and the ones that finish up on the opposite side are the longer looks at birdie, and you just two-putt those for par. That's the idea.
Right, that's great. I'm talking about the ones that you like snap hook and go into fescue or deep rough, or maybe another fairway. That's what I'm talking about.
And you're looking at a miscut week. You're not looking to contend and win. It's back to the range for you.
Okay.
Have fun, Ryan.
That's
Melan, it's not Ryan's not going to the range, he's going to the bar, so there's a lot of
I could probably say the bar,
where's the cart girl? That's what I need. I need a Tito's quick. That's interesting because I think I who would call themselves a quote unquote golfer. Like I'm not a good golfer, but I would say that I'm a golfer. I play a lot of golf. I go into a hole and I have a plan. The plan is fairway green 2-putt.
Yeah, but that's everyone's plan.
But I might pipe a drive. But I might pipe a drive right down the middle and say like, okay, that flag is tucked kind of behind the bunker. I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to aim at the middle of the green, right? Yeah. And I aim at the middle of the green, and I on my downswing, I just have a seizure, and it goes way, way right for whatever reason. So now I'm out there scrambling. So I don't. So then it just. My thought process is like always trying to recalibrate that. Like, okay, now what's my plan? My plan was the middle of the green.
If you recalibrate the seizure, then you might be able to put a couple of good numbers together. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. Well, good to know.
Let's real quick. Let me go back to the playoff now. So, you make a par on the 18th hole, okay? And now, do you know that? All right, after you've just finished out your round and you tapped in for par, like, do you know that you're about to go into a playoff?
No, I sat on the ground. I was really tired and signed the scorecard, went to the scoring desk, and I think someone told me to wait around. There might be a playoff, and I was just sat there. I was like, okay, didn't know who it was going to be, didn't know what was going on, and then Christian tapped in. I played with him in the second round, and he came off the green and was like, "Oh, I guess we're going to a playoff or something like that," and then it commenced after that.
Yeah. So I mean, okay.
So you didn't even know you were the guy in the playoff.
No. Oh yeah, I know.
You didn't know that you.
I knew I either won or there was going to be a.
Oh, okay. So you knew where you were at that point. Okay, good.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, AKA no. He's trying to make us feel better. He's trying to make us feel better right now because my anxiety for him not even knowing at the time, and this was weeks ago, is already sky high. So I appreciate him trying to do us a few favors with this. But obviously, so Christian and you don't decide, but like end up in a playoff. And I know that you play the 3 holes at Brook Lawn. You play 14, 15, 16. And if we go through those holes a little bit, I guess, when Christian 3 putts on 15 and, you made it par at 14, you made par at 15, you kind of knew like what your job was going to that last hole. More or less is like, let me put the pressure on Christian. Let me see if he has to, you're kind of forcing him to make a birdie if you can make a par.
Like I said prior, all the clubs I was hitting off the tee, all of it was, I was always going to pick the same target. It was just, what he does is what he does, and I can't control what he does. It was just very fortunate for me that he did 3-putt, and it could have, easily gone anyone's way. He was a good enough player to have, he could say that himself. But, on the last hole, he definitely had to try. I feel like he thought he had to make a birdie, and. But
let's talk about your up and down. I mean, because I think that I felt like that was the shot that a lot of the things that I read highlighted more than anything else. It wasn't like anything about a drive here or a big eagle that you made in the first round or things like, or any other birdie. It was everything that I kept reading, kept coming back to the way you got up and down behind the challenging green on 16, like where you landed it, how it, trickled down. Like, why don't you talk a little bit about the execution, I guess, of that shot? Because I think there's times that we all have to admit that as much as Decade can help you, that gets thrown out the window and it's like, all right, I got to just hit this golf shot. I got to perfect this golf shot because this is going to make or break me winning this championship.
Yeah, I mean, I was there in regular play and I hit, it's actually really funny you say that because I actually hit a better shot in regular play than I did in the playoff.
Wow.
In regular play, like for my intention, I hit, I tried to land it on the right side and obviously let it funnel down. In regular play, I did that and I had a 10-footer coming back and, made it. It was up the hill and I, made it. I hit a good putt. And in the playoff, the ball was sat down a bit more. So I had to, a bit more speed and a bit more energy into it. And it didn't come out great. Like it came out very soft and I thought it was going to pop a little bit more. And it landed in the rough. And then it took a bounce forwards and then caught the slope on the right and then trickled down. And there was a moment in time where I thought it was going to stay up top and I was going to have another chip, two chip.
Yeah.
And it was just very fortunate that it got that bounce out of the rough because then it was rolling slow enough to, not go racing past it. And it left myself a 3-footer above the hole right to left to get up and down. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, how many times do you see that, like that somebody needs to get a good, fortunate bounce to win a tournament? Like, golf is really hard. You need those. You need those in order to win.
When it boils down to it, a lot. I hate saying it, but a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is good fortune. You can hit a great golf shot and execute to the way you want, but there is luck involved, and there was luck in that shot on the last hole of the playoff.
Do you know what I like?
You've paid your penance to the golf gods. You've already put in the work. They're rewarding you for previous actions that you've done there. That's what that is.
Yeah, you know what I like to say? Good things happen to good people.
Thanks, man.
All right. No, listen, that's kind of how it works sometimes in life.
I worked really hard leading up to it, and I've been working hard the whole summer. And, throughout my whole life, I've worked hard, and to come away with a win, unexpected. I didn't. My expectation was to go there, good process, good mental strategy, ... and then to come away and execute, above average and walk away with a win after, some of the battles that I'd gone through prior was really special. It was definitely came out of the blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I saw that. I said, "Oh man, that's a huge win," and everything I read was incredible. And listen, the chip was the thing to me. I was like, I can't wait to get to the chip and the caddy story. But it's like I was mind blown. But when I hear you talk, I can say that you're very mature. You have your head on you're very tightly. You know what you're looking to do, and as you progress now through your college career. What do you see as the future for you? Like, I have to assume the aspirations of making it on tour have to be the end. And I don't want to even say the end goal because for someone like you, like, it seems like a growth mindset is something that you've really dove deep into and not being so fixated on just like fixed results. Like, is that the thought to get there and then go compete with those guys?
Yeah, definitely developing a growth mindset over a fixed mindset is definitely going to be something that gets me there. So I'll play. My plan is to play my last year in college at Louisiana Monroe, and due to all of the stuff changing, the merger and all of that great stuff, that Canada and now Latin America are going to form to One America's tour with stuff going on in North America as well. There will be a Q school at the end. In the start of the fall in September, ending in December. 4 stages, including a pre-qualifier, and I'm going to look to do that in the fall of 2024 after I graduate and commence my professional career there.
Awesome. So will you wait on declaring professional until then so you can play in things like the Ike in 2024 and the Met Am and things like that?
I'm still, up in air about that. It's not been, set in stone yet. I may, depending on how my college career goes, I may turn pro straight out of college if that's where I feel like I'm at, or if I decide to come up here again and spend another summer here before I turn pro and do Q school, then yeah, that's probably where it's going to be. But getting status for the 2025 season is definitely something that is going to be one of my goals going forward.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
speaking of professional golfers, do you know who Cameron Young is? Have you heard of this professional golfer?
Yeah, I've heard of him, yeah.
Do you know what you and him have in common?
Yeah, I've heard that he won the Ike as well, yeah.
And he also shot a 203, which is the low round for the Ike tournament.
Cool.
Low
that's
tournament.
Pretty good.
So, yeah, that's
That's pretty good company.
Man.
I mean, we would emulate a career like his.
I'd love that. Definitely.
Yeah. Listen,
one of my dreams, yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And so, from a again looking ahead kind of approach here, like, what are some ways that if someone's listening to this and they're like, you know what, this kid has his head on the right way, and I think he's got a future. Like, if someone was interested in supporting you after college, or even NIL deals or things like that, like, are you open to them as a college golfer, as a person looking to do bigger and better things? Like, what could be some way that someone could reach out to you if they were interested?
Yeah, so I have created a budget for Q School for a season on PJ Tour Americas and a PJ on Corn Ferry Tour. I have a budget and I have a proposal ready. If someone listening would like to reach out to me, they can reach out through email at melandhaubhadel.com. My Instagram is melan.dhaubhadel and my Twitter is Melan Dhaubhadel as well. If you're interested, I'd very much appreciate any support. In upcoming years, starting my professional career.
Yeah, and what we'll do is when we release the episode and whatnot, we'll make sure that we put all that in the description so that that you could tag it, you can share it, you can put it out there as well. So, because I do think that's important, because I think even as Ryan and I noticed, like, golf is really expensive just for the average Joe like us to go out and play. For guys like you that are looking to do bigger and better things, we hear it all the time on the tour, like, just the travel aspect is crazy. And
hotels, flights, food, rental cars, it's not cheap. So, I can't fund it on your own unless a family friend or family can do it. And I'm unfortunately not in that situation. So outside help is definitely going to be something that I'm looking for.
Yeah, 100%.
Or even just to pay for a hotel room in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Back to school.
or Chipotle. Or Chipotle, you know?
Yeah, you can live in there, yeah.
I think that's what we got to work on. We got to work on Chipotle for your NIL deal.
Yeah.
That's what we got to work on.
Listen,
I'd love
we
that.
should cut. We need to cut this up when he was talking about that and just tag them and everything. And who knows? All it takes is the right person to hear it. Right person hears it. Who knows? You know, that'll be the front left chest and the hat. You know,
Love it.
you know. But Melan, I can't thank you enough. Ryan and I always kind of like to end things with a few questions, and I know we don't. I'm not trying to blindside you in terms of like, or any gotcha like questions, but and I know maybe like when we're talking golfing in the Garden State, you know, your history compared to others may be a little different, but our goal is really to highlight all the good things here in New Jersey, whether it's play golf, talk golf, and enjoy as much golfing in the Garden State as we can. Is there a certain golf course, maybe public and private or one or the other, that if the audience is listening, that they get a chance to go play, that you would recommend to them?
Yeah, 100% private course has to be Alpine. Great test of golf, great green complex. If you short side yourself at Alpine, you'll know about it. Good luck. And I have to shout out Rivervale for the best public course. I did a lot of my practice there before I was able to practice at Alpine, and the course is in really good shape, and played it a few times, and it's a good test as well. So yeah, Alpine and Rivervale for sure.
There you go. I was kind of curious. I didn't knowing that he's not like a huge or all-in New Jersey guy, and kind of like is here and there. Like, man, those are two right off the bat. And no offense, Ryan, I don't know if we've heard Rivervale as being a top one. I
don't think we have.
But
what are some of the ones that what's the most
So,
popular
like,
for private public?
again, a lot of it is really based upon the area that people are from. So like
What
we've
about
got
where
one.
what about like Bergen County, like here?
I'm trying to think. We had Jack Simon. Do you know? I don't know. Again, I'm going to throw names out that I'm not really familiar. If you're familiar with them, but like Jack Simon plays a lot of golf out of Rockaway, and
Rockaway Rivers. That's out west.
Rockaway,
true.
that's where the State Am was last year.
Yep.
Is that a public course?
No. That's
private.
private. That's private. But he had mentioned. God, now I'm drawing blank. Royce.
What's
Royce
that
Brook
one
did-
that's got it's got the name and then it says east west. I'm gonna pull up Google Maps.
I forget. Melan, there's so many things. So many people give us different ones, but I can tell you that when they're repeated, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, we've heard that one before. But when you mention ones like you just did, it's new. No one said that. And
Rivervale is definitely one that people should go and play. 100%.
Knoll Golf.
Knoll, yeah, that's what it was. Yep, that's what Jack Simon said. Yeah, Knoll West, Knoll East. Yeah, but Rivervale, okay. All right, that might have to be another one on our hit list.
I will say that's the other thing is like we've gotten a lot of guys from north, but not so much northeast, like tucked away like you are, where like Alpine is, where
Yeah, I'm
and that like
I just realised that I am very north of Jersey, and it's not. Not very...
Well, no, we've had guys that are north like you, but like Jack Simon talking about Rockaway. Rockaway is like north. It's like west of Wayne. It's really middle of the state there. If you're cutting the northern part in half, it's really right down the middle. So a lot of our guys have been like north, but they've talked about that like out there. Or they've mentioned the big names like Baltusrol or those names. But yeah, you're kind of like where Alpine is kind of tucked closer to like closer to New York than it is.
New York and on the border.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm saying is like we don't have like Rivervale's not a course that's like come up a ton for us. So Melan, we kind of talked about this a little earlier, and from what I gather about you, you're not going to have many, but I think golfers are rather quirky kind of by nature, and whether it's superstitious or anything like that. What are some things that you do on the course that you're that are superstitious or quirky or that you do without question before entering a competition? I'll give you a couple examples. Could be things like marking your golf balls in a particular way.
Yeah.
Do you need to have
the 4 things I do before a tournament.
4? Wow. Wow. I would assume there's none.
Right. He went from a hard thought to I got 4.
Yeah. I mark my balls. So I mark my balls. I do the wind. I look at where the wind's going to be. So I make a wind chart. I clean my shoes and I clean my clubs. Those are 4 things without fail that will happen the night before the next round or the round upcoming. Yeah. Okay.
What about leading up to in between the range and the first tee? Are there certain things that you have or need? Whether it's stuff in your pocket or some guys have said they don't tie their shoes until they get onto the first tee box. Is there anything that's
a playlist that I'll always listen to warming up? I listen to certain music, instrumentals and relaxing music while I putt in my putting warm up, and on the range I just listen to a ULM playlist that I made that's just full of bangers.
Okay. What's on that playlist?
Just a lot. Just rap and hip hop and pop, everything like that.
I was like, for you to say it's a Britney Spears playlist, and we didn't want to put you on blast.
Listen, if you haven't realized by now, he's smart enough that even if it was NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, and again, no offense to those people, but
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd admit it. I think he's too smart to say that. Unless, listen, I listen to it, so I don't know. But then again, I'm not a really good golfer. Maybe that's my problem.
No, but he's also very clearly strong in his who he is as a person. So he doesn't care that he.
Yeah. I like that.
Melan, that's really cool. So the last question that we ask, and I don't know if you know this, being can I call you pseudo Jersey guy? I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So in New Jersey, we have a big debate over a particular kind of breakfast meat.
What was that?
Do you have any idea we have a debate in New Jersey over what the name of a particular breakfast meat is called.
Okay.
Do you know?
This would be interesting.
This is going to be very interesting.
I think you just got to give him a multiple choice question here.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You go get a bagel in the morning, right? You're going to get a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you getting a pork roll, egg and cheese, Taylor ham, egg and cheese, or sausage, egg and cheese?
Sausage, egg and cheese.
Okay. So in New Jersey, there's a big debate over whether it's called pork roll or Taylor ham.
It's called sausage.
So sausage is something different.
That's a difference.
That's a different breakfast meat.
That's the difference.
Have you never had pork roll?
No.
All right, so listen, we got to somehow get you one, and
boy.
you think you're addicted to Chipotle. You'll really be addicted to this. You'll be like, oh my God, guys, just send me whatever that is,
What is it? Pork roll and ham something?
Pork roll, like P-O-R, like pig, like pork roll.
Next time you go to a bagel shop, right, and you go get a bagel, I'm assuming that you've gotten bagels before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go in there, in North Jersey, it's 99.9% of the time it's going to be called Taylor ham.
Taylor ham, okay.
Right. So when you go in there, ask for a Taylor ham, egg and cheese on whatever bagel you like.
Okay. But what was the other one you said?
It's called pork roll.
So in New Jersey, the debate is
they won't give it to you.
No, they in North Jersey, they won't. Yeah, in North Jersey, it's kind of like it's called Taylor ham, but in Central Jersey and South Jersey, it's called pork roll. So it's always like a little bit of an argument as to what that famous meat is called.
Yeah. It kind of sucks that I'm not American, so I'm not from New Jersey, so I can't really answer.
So we let you pass on this one because we thought this may be like a unfair question to you.
Yeah.
But we still wanted to.
Yeah.
But when you go to your bagel shop, I want you to order a Taylor ham, egg and cheese on whatever bagel you like.
Okay. I'll do that for you.
And then And then I want the DM as to how good it was.
Here's what you're going to do. I just looked up a bagel place for you. You ever heard of Cresskill's Bagel Cafe?
Yeah.
Right around the corner from Alpine.
Yeah. Up in there.
Go there and order a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese.
Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
I've already done the homework for you.
Yeah. So and I want to know. You can DM us. I want to know your thoughts on it. If it was terrible, say, Mike, don't ever make a suggestion to me again.
Yeah.
Okay. and if it's good, you're gonna say, Mike, give me some more suggestions.
Okay.
All right.
I shall. I'll do that.
That's amazing to me. It didn't occur to me until I was in the middle of asking the question that you had no idea.
I thought you were gonna go multiple choice.
No, I didn't. It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah. Oh, you're strict. You're strict. It's don't mess with that's your question. Don't mess with your question. But Melan, listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I know that we had been playing DM tag nonstop for probably 2.5 weeks now, but getting you on and talking to you, I think it shows that you know why you're capable of playing golf at such a high level, because it's not only like the physical capabilities of what you can do, but I think the preparation and the mental side kind of speaks for itself, because you do take this very seriously and you got a good head on your shoulders. And listen, I wish you nothing but success in the next month and the future ahead. So thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely, Melan. Thanks for coming on. Good luck the rest of the summer and this season.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yep. Talk soon, pal.
All right, thank you.
Take
Cheers,
care.
boys.
Cheers.